Welcome to the Charlton Board of Selectmen meeting for April 9th, 2019. Please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. On tonight's agenda, we have the minutes of special meeting March 18th, 2019 for approval, minutes of regular meeting March 26th, 2019 for approval. Next, we move into community relations announcements and open forum. After that, we have appointments and resignation, and we have an appointment for a kitchen assistant. Scheduled appointments at 6:45 p.m. We have Police Chief Maxfield here to discuss establishing a promotional list for the sergeant. At 7 p.m. we have a poll hearing for Boucher Road. At 7:15 p.m. we have the Planning Board for request for counsel for a subdivision appeal. Under new business, we have a special one-day alcoholic beverage license for the Charlton Road Race Committee. We have Highway Materials Bid Award, legal fees for fiscal year 2019, and technology town email system. Under old business, we have the fiscal year 20 annual town meeting. We have the warrant and the budget. And committee reports right now, I don't believe anybody has any committee reports. Under Board of Selectmen policy review, we have a policy procedure for traffic management and crowd control, AKA procedure for requesting special event. We have the student select persons report, town administrators report, other business unknown at the time of posting. Our next meeting announcement, which is going to be our regular Board of Selectmen's meeting on April 23rd, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. in the Selectmen's meeting room. And then we are going to adjourn to executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation for the clerical union. And we're going to exit executive session for the sole purpose of adjourning. So with that, do we have a motion on the special meeting minutes from March 18th?
Through the chair,
Ms. Noble.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes from March 18th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
We have motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. One abstention, Mr. Singer. We have the minutes from March 26th, our regular meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Through the chair,
Ms. Noble.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of the regular meeting March 26th, 2019.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have motion, a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Okay. Community relations and announcements.
We have to vote on it.
Oh, sorry about that.
Favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Moving on quickly.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have one abstention and three ayes. Announcements for our meeting. From the town clerk, last day to register to vote for the May 4th town election is Friday, April 12th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the town clerk's office. Also, dog licenses are now late and include a $10 late fee. Please pay online, by mail, or at the town clerk's office. Candidates night, Monday, April 29th, 2019, 6 p.m. at the library at Dexter Hall. The Town of Charlton Health and Wellness Committee invites town employees and their families to the annual Health and Wellness Fair, April 30th, 2019, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Dexter Hall at the Charlton Public Library. Representative Peter Durant will hold office hours on Thursday, April 18th, 2019, from 1 to 2 p.m. in the Selectmen's meeting room. 2019 annual town elections, Saturday, May 4th, 2019, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Heritage School. 2019 annual town meeting, May 20th, 2019, 7 p.m. at the Charlton Middle School. The town hall will be closed on Monday, April 15th, 2019, in observance of Patriots' Day. Is there anybody here for open forum? Patsy?
John, before you do that, did you say the town hall's going to be open on Friday for people to register and vote? You said it was March 12th, and that is a Friday?
I will tell you in a second. Hold on. Yes, April 12th.
April 12th?
April 12th, open on Friday.
That Friday, the town hall will be open?
Correct.
Okay,
Thanks, Gene.
okay.
Patsy?
My name is Patsy Redlack, and I am the chair of the Charlton Planning Board. I'm also a mother, a wife. I volunteer in church, in Girl Scouts, and throughout this community. I've been accused of committing a felony, carrying a sentence of 5 years and a fine of $10,000. Accusations made have already affected my employment, a career that I love, where I am able to make a difference. My integrity and judgment are crucial for me to do my job. Residents approached my husband questioning him about my actions. On social media, I am being called a criminal. Comments say I should be removed from the planning board. In the Valley Green Grove subdivision appeal, item 37, states, I said that I attended and recorded a conference call with Judge Foster. This is entirely false. I said no such thing. I did no such thing. VGG has published lies about me in an effort to defame me. In a letter dated March 28th, addressed to Judge Foster, VGG's attorney, Bradley Croft, wrote about an alarming event describing in detail how I illegally attended and recorded this conference call, referencing the law he alleges I violated. Every attorney involved, including Michael Pill and Mark Bobrowski, was copied on this letter. I was not. To set the record straight, I did not attend or record this land court conference. I received a copy of the audio by email. There was no attorney representing the planning board, and it was sent to me out of respect. I listened to it, and I heard Attorney Silverstein working together with the Valley Green Grove attorneys as if they had a common goal. Those involved assumed the worst and did not verify facts because it was in their best interest. This includes members of the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, all the attorneys and the companies they represent. They used malice. No one ever asked me once if I attended the call prior to publishing the lies. Clearly, their intent was to destroy my reputation for their own benefit. All those involved, most being attorneys, know better to not accuse someone of a crime without evidence. I am disgusted by this behavior, and all of those involved should be ashamed of themselves. In order to remedy the situation, I expect the following actions immediately. A formal written apology from Jeffrey Goldstein, whose company, Valley Green Grove, Inc., in the subdivision appeal maliciously stated that I committed a crime with blatant disregard for the truth. A formal written apology from Catherine and Nathan Benjamin, whose business, Charlton Orchards Group, LLC, in the subdivision appeal maliciously stated that I committed a crime with blatant disregard for the truth. A formal written apology from attorney Michael Duffy, who, in representing his law firm, Roberto, Israel, and Wiener, maliciously stated in the subdivision appeal that I committed a crime with blatant disregard for the truth. A formal written apology from attorney Bradley Croft, who wrote a letter to Judge Foster accusing me of committing a crime and then used this lie as a basis for additional allegations. I demand that a letter be sent to Judge Foster from attorney Duffy and attorney Croft explaining their lack of judgment used in both the allegations made. I expect a full investigation of events which led to false allegations. A mere statement in this meeting room was somehow communicated to opposing counsel and escalated to such a point where a letter was sent to a judge stating that a felony was committed. There were 8 people in the Board of Selectmen meeting. It shouldn't take too long to complete that investigation to figure out what happened. I expect the dismissal of attorney Jonathan Silverstein, as his ethics and professional judgment have put our town in a position where legal action is forthcoming. Any reputable attorney would have verified such a serious accusation with a simple question. Like any other elected official or town employee, I also expect the town to provide an attorney to pursue defamation charges against all those involved. And since there was a public request for all information on my my work computer through a public information request. I wanted to, now that it's public information, because it will be required it will be provided with the information that will be provided to Mrs. Benjamin. There was a letter sent about the attack on Jane Garney from the town administrator on September 13th. Robin Craver came into the office and she attacked her, and there was a complaint made.
Patsy, okay, we're not gonna go down that road during open session.
But this
Only-
isn't an attack,
No, you can't, when you and I talked, and you said, and I actually mentioned to you that the way to clarify this was to come forward at open session for the purpose of clearing any misnomers from the statement that you made. That was what my suggestion was. You have written a letter to the Board of Selectmen on a personnel issue with the town administrator and the planning board assistant or administrative assistant. That's an HR now. That can't be discussed.
it is public information, it will be
It's-
provided with the request, so
That's-
therefore it is
that's-
now
that's
public
fine,
information.
but it can't be, you can't sit and talk about people who aren't in the room. It gets everybody into trouble, especially when they're employees, okay? It's a lesson I learned, okay? It actually happened with Alan.
I wonder what's gonna happen now. This whole entire thing blew up in work, and it isn't affecting my employment. If somebody accused Deb Noble of doing something, or you of doing something, they would have an attorney. If Robin has to answer an email, Cosgrove answers the email to me often. So
So.
will I
So
get
the-
an attorney to?
So the
this-
first thing, you brought this forward to the board, it's gonna have to be an agenda item, and I don't know whether it goes into, if it's an executive session agenda item, or if it's in the public forum, we'll have to find out. But it's gonna have to be an agenda item, that's all, okay?
I'm very upset. This is.
I know, yeah, and you have a right to be.
This is a personal attack.
You have a right to be upset.
But
Okay.
through the chair, if I
Mhm.
may, can we please have a copy of what you read? Would you mind?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I have a couple of questions. These are very serious allegations, false allegations that were brought against Patsy. And I think we are obligated, we shouldn't be waiting. I would recommend we pull into executive session tonight.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, you can't, because we have to post it as an executive session item, okay? That has to be posted as an executive session item to discuss it in an executive session.
I think the nature of that would be that you should go into you have executive session posted already.
It has to be an
This
agenda.
cannot drag on like you pulled the chain on the planning board with
So,
attorneys. This
all right.
is something that has to be addressed quickly,
First of all, Gene,
quickly.
if you want to come up and address the board, come up here and address the board, okay?
It's Patsy's open forum.
Okay, thank you. So Patsy, I've outlined what I think should happen. You know, that's the way I would move forward with it. But
Again,
it can't go, it's
Okay.
because of the open meeting law, we're not gonna do it in executive session this
but
evening.
I guess I'm a little frustrated, though. If you had a conversation and you knew what was going to happen, why we wouldn't have put something like this on. But neither here nor there. Through the chair,
Because you just made a statement, let me
Okay,
just say this, okay? When Patsy called me and she was very upset, and she explained what her problem was, I went back and I read the minutes, and I said, you know, can they be misinterpreted? And I said, yes. So then, when she explained to me her side of the story, I said, well, my suggestion would be at open forum to come forward and explain your side of the story. And that's basically what I expected to happen. You know, I didn't realize how much
This wasn't a whoops. This was a letter
No.
that was
I-
sent to the judge that's now a matter of public record. So when they do my background checks for work, which I get because of what I do, it'll come up.
Which I understand, Patsy, but when you and I, what we discussed was just what I pretty much explained, correct?
And that was before, but that was before I
So that
met
was before.
with an
So I didn't
attorney.
have, so I did not have all sorts of information. I had offered Patsy a suggestion on if I was in her shoes, what I would do. And that's what she did. So now we have more information, and I believe the board will probably put it on executive session, is my guess.
So just through the chair, a point of clarification, you mentioned the letter that was sent. I just want it noted that the planning board, it wasn't forwarded or they weren't copied on it, even though I want to stress that we, the Board of Selectmen and the planning board are the defendants. We're literally on the same side here, and that letter was not copied. I know maybe it was by accident or whatever, but in order to avoid that in the future, are we all in agreement that because we are all defendants, if anything comes through the lawyers or they should be copied? The courtesy, at the very least, the planning board should be copied on whatever we received regarding this, because we are all defendants. I was,
Yeah, and one of the discussions that you and I had was that, is because of the disclaimers that they put at the bottom of it,
on the
it was-
email, not the,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
I get that.
So one of the things that, and it was cleared up very quickly, it is considered a public record when they send something like that out, so yes.
And I'm a little confused as to why, I know Mark Grabowski.
Yeah, Mark Borowski was copied on it, but no, that was not forwarded to me. And Attorney Pill isn't even part of this. There's, whatever you have that he can't even be involved in this town, somehow they copied Pill on it also, which is absolutely.
Yeah, well, let Patsy.
Hi, Patsy. So, because I have a little legal background, I'll just explain why Attorney Pill was copied and why the other attorneys were copied. It was because they have filed amicus briefs in the case. That's the only reason. Any attorney that files any sort of brief or motion will be CC'd on an email like that when something is sent to the court. It wasn't anything clandestine. The other thing is, as a former investigator, I decided to look into this a bit deeper. And I've reached out to the telecommunications company that manages the court's conference call system. I've been on the phone with a couple of different court clerks and scheduling clerks and the software company for the teleconference. And sure enough, there is a way to get a call log for that conference call.
That's fabulous.
And get
I would love that.
and get a record of the telephone numbers that called in.
Sounds great to me.
So I should be able to hopefully get that information by the end of the week.
I would love that. And
I'm
will I
sure.
get a formal apology for you for slandering me?
I'm unaware of what you're discussing
If you
with your
listen to the
record.
audio, what is said in that audio was, you gave me the big lecture of committing the crime. and
I
then
did
in the-
not. That was,
yes.
that was Attorney Silverstein.
No, you did too.
So.
Well, I'll get you the transcript. I'll email it to you so
Okay.
you
Thank
have
you.
it.
So here's what I think we should do, okay? I think that we will, at our next meeting, we will put it down as an executive session item, and we'll move on from there, okay?
But through the chair, one more thing. Again, these are very serious allegations. I do not want to wait. I would demand that we do some kind of internal audit or some kind of investigation. I am deeply disturbed that somehow, because I always say, how did this happen, and how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? Who? Because we did not have a board vote. We did not advise any of our attorneys to take this information, or we didn't have a formal vote, and go to the VGG attorneys and report this. But to your point, somehow, some way, that made it to them. Now, remember, we, the planning board and the Board of Selectmen, are on the same side. And someone gave this information to them without fact-checking. This is crucial. We need to investigate, and I would like to make a motion that we order an investigation into this matter. We need to find out how this has happened, because these are very serious allegations. This can affect her livelihood. If this was me or you, and we were down there, I would expect the same thing. And we should act swiftly, and we should, so again, is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it. Go ahead.
The only thing I would,
We have
you know.
motion and second.
Okay, so we'll open it for discussion?
Yeah, it's open for discussion.
Do you know what an officer of the court is?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that they're obligated as mandated reporters?
I would hope the officer of the court, or whatever, like, I'm sure you're referring to
An
Jonathan,
officer.
right?
All attorneys.
Okay.
And
So
judges.
why wouldn't he fact check? You don't make these serious allegations unless you fact check. I mean, that's
A call.
That's 101. I
A
mean-
simple call, an email, a simple email, just to
I'm really
ask.
disturbed by this.
So we have a seasoned attorney that couldn't make a quick call to say, you know, you said this, what's going on? And nobody bothered. Nobody thought that it was appropriate to call, because it helped your agenda. You want a project approved, and it helped your agenda to defame me.
So what?
So use your legal background, Deb Noble, and figure, you should have known better. You keep on saying that you have
So
such a legal
that's-
background. You should have known better, but you didn't.
So Patsy,
It's in your benefit. It was in your benefit for me to look like a criminal.
so
But now you look like a criminal. You committed a crime.
that's enough.
You defamed me.
That is enough, okay?
Why couldn't somebody just ask a question? All it took was just somebody to ask, Patsy, did you record that?
Because it was convenient.
Did you hack into
So-
that?
So,
That's all it would taken.
so.
This
there
is
were a
so
lot
way
of-
out of hand.
So,
And 2 weeks is way too long to wait. I'm sorry.
well, I'm afraid that's the way this.
You
is
can
gonna-
call an emergency meeting.
I'm afraid that's the way it's gonna go, Gene, okay?
It
So-
doesn't matter.
Oh,
So-
doesn't matter.
I've been on the planning board for 17 years.
Okay.
I've missed 2 meetings in 17 years.
Okay.
So I appreciate the fact that you can't even give me a little bit of respect, because I didn't vote yes to a project you wanted. Nice. I hope you go home and look in the mirror. Look in the mirror at yourself. I hope you like yourself, because there's not many people
Thank-
that could possibly do such
Thank you.
nasty things.
Thank you, Patsy. Okay. So with that, we're moving on to any other
vote? Gonna
items.
vote?
What's
We have
that?
a motion and a second,
You're right.
Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And Deb, no?
No.
Okay, 2-1. Okay.
And
Any
it's
other?
still
anybody else?
requesting that something be done prior to 2 weeks. This
Thank
is,
you.
this is very
We'll
important.
take it under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, through the chair, not to put you on the spot, but you are the chair, why wouldn't we move more swiftly?
We will take it under advisement. Thank you, Karen. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, hi.
Kristen?
Tough to follow that. Hi, Kristen Costigian, Carroll Hill Road. So, first of all, this isn't on my list of things to say, but I'd just like to point out, I believe the letter Patsy's referring to is dated March 28th. The appeal I have in my hands here, it's dated April 1st, so if you wait 2 more weeks, by then it's been 3 weeks to issue her an attorney for a work by, representing our town, something she's encountered.
Kristen,
It's just a long lag.
Kristen, I just hate to say it. I wish it was as simple as what you're saying. It's not.
Okay.
There is nothing
All
simple.
right, that wasn't
Okay?
on my list. So
I
my
know.
list is, I want to bring to your attention that the VGG subdivision appeal contains a legal maneuver which directly conflicts with the terms of the host agreements that you guys signed. VGG asked the court to make Charlton pay all of the consulting, review, and analysis fees, which clearly they promised to pay in the host agreement. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. That's basically defaulting on the host agreement. Second of all, the host agreement has a flaw. It has no deadline for Valley Green to grow to obtain their state licensure, meaning that they indefinitely are hogging a position in our town. I'm not sure if it was this board's intent to allow them an indefinite amount of time to come up with a state license or not, but it looks like that is a flaw in that agreement. And then thirdly, The AG ruled months ago, and VGG had used that as kind of an excuse to not pay the $500,000 infrastructure bribe, whatever you want to call it. They promised to pay that money within 30 days of the delivery of a host community agreement, a letter of non-objection from this board, and they, I believe, have not, or have they?
No, that has been changed.
So they did pay
Yeah.
it? So it has been paid to our community?
No, that
What?
has been stayed,
Okay,
okay?
but I just want to
And
point out.
I don't have the exact dates or anything like that, but if you check with Mary, I'm sure she can get it for you.
The dates of what? I guess I'm confused. With what
So when they, I believe, and I'm going to have to, I did miss some meetings, but I believe that what happened was when there were problems, when they were running into problems, the $500,000 payment was stayed.
Yeah, they were waiting for the Attorney General to rule on the general bylaw that we passed.
There was something else with it. That's why I said my memory's not exactly, you know.
Well, in any case, I just gave you a list
Well,
of
yeah.
terms. They've sort of defaulted on the agreement there, so it's concerning.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Kristen. Is there anybody else for open forum? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Don Konopacki. I'm a member of the Charlton Activities Council, and this will be a little bit easier, I hope. I just wanted to speak about a few things that are coming up at the Activities Center in Charlton, located at 4 Dresser Hill Road. First of all, we're getting ready to do our, I believe it's our 5th annual Blueberry Festival. That's going to be on July 28th. What we're looking for is help from the community. Right now, we have about 4 people running this, and there was 40,000 likes on the Facebook page. So we're a little bit hopeful that some people might come forward to the community to help us out. The next meeting on the Blueberry Festival will be on Saturday, April 27th at 9:30 a.m. So if anyone wants to come over, help and volunteer, that would be great. Another thing that I would like to mention is that Pasture Prime Players, the resident theater group, is going to be conducting auditions on April 16th and 18th at 7 p.m. for Wait Until Dark. That play will run the last 2 weekends of June, and April 26th through May 5th, Pasture Prime Players will be presenting Lost and Found, running on 2 consecutive weekends. That will be 7 p.m. performances on Fridays and Saturdays, and a 2 p.m. matinee on Sundays. We're also hopefully going to restart the Grizzly Coffee House sometime after that occurs. Some other things coming up at the Activities Council are cake decorating classes on May 19th. There's going to be tie-dye cookies, and June 16th there's going to be a Father's Day cake decorating class. Last Saturday in May, and I guess it's the last Saturday of each month, there's a morning paint and caffeinate, kind of like the paint and drink, but instead you're just going to drink coffee instead of wine. Let's see. The other things I'd like to mention is there are Irish step dancing lessons by Lee Irish Step Dancing. The Central Mass Music Academy also has music lessons available, as well as art classes with Pierre. And finally, not to forget about it, the Bittersweet gift shop is open on weekends, and all these are great activities. We seem to be the biggest secret in Charlton. I don't know why. We've been around for about 10 years now, and people drop by and say, oh, I never knew you were here, even though there's a huge sign sitting in front of it. And when they go there for buying a craft, they say, oh, I didn't know you did theater, even though there's a big sign saying theater. So we're hoping that maybe we can get some people to come out, see what we're doing at the Activities Center. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
In the past for the Blueberry Festival, have you had like student volunteers help you too, or are you just seeking help from adults?
Oh, yes, we would love to have student volunteers. In the past, I know last year we had quite a few, I believe it was National Honor Society teenagers from, I'm not sure which school system, whether it was from Bay Path or from the Charlton Dudley system. But they helped out by manning tables when people needed breaks. I can tell you that right now, there's only 4 or 5 of us involved in this huge undertaking, and we're looking for people to help us in all aspects, setting up, breaking down, any help they can do. And it's continuously gotten larger every year, and there's pony rides, there's bands playing, there's a wild animal show, and we have a Ringling Brothers clown who's going to be performing this year, so there's all kinds of things. And we hope that people can come by, help, and certainly come to the Blueberry Festival on July 28th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll try and do our part about getting it more out in the public. Thank you. Anybody else for open session? Hi.
My name is Samantha LePage. I'm a junior in the health tech program at Bay Path. And part of what we're doing is we're working with a Stop the Bleed program, and we're working with the Charlton Fire Department. And we're hoping to train the board in Stop the Bleed to bring it to all of our schools. And the reason it's really helpful is because it's a training on tourniquets and how to properly apply them and help save people from life-threatening bleeding. And we want it in all of our schools because there's been a lot of tragic events occurring lately. So we were hoping that we could bring it to the board, and that would be our first step to bringing it into all of the schools. And just training you guys would bring awareness to our community.
Okay.
So we were hoping to work sometime possibly next week and set up a date that we could possibly train you.
Okay. David?
So, Sammy, how many people do you need to train from our town hall?
As many as we can get would be great.
Okay. And when do we want to do it?
We were hoping for sometime next week.
Okay. What do we have for dates, I wonder?
Let me check my calendar.
I know I cannot do it Wednesday night, but I believe Tuesday might work.
Okay.
I have to be here Tuesday for a 5:30 meeting.
How about 6:30?
6:30 is fine.
Okay.
I used to teach this for the Red Cross, so, but if I can make it, I will definitely
I
come
was an
along.
EMT.
There you go.
So
But,
Tuesday night works for me, too.
yeah, Tuesday night at 6:30?
That works.
That works?
Okay.
Hmm?
6.
6:30, because she has a 5:30.
I got a 5:30 meeting.
Okay. All
Sorry.
right, so we're going to have Stop the Bleed at 6:30 at the, in the Selectmen's meeting room, and the date is going to be
Tuesday, April 16th.
Tuesday, April 16th, and you can handle as many people as come, correct?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And we'll get the word out.
All right, thank
So-
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can we email all the town hall employees and just invite them and have a reminder sent to everyone on the board?
Sure. Mary, did you get that? Okay. All right, excellent. All right. Anybody else for open forum? Steve?
Yes, Steve Corona, 17 Old Worcester Road Extension. As the last two speakers talk about how wonderful the town is and all the good things that we're doing, I'd like to remind the board that we're still bogged down in this VGG thing, and it's a very serious matter. My personal opinion is that VGG is on a,
Go ahead.
David's got to
Get out of here.
recuse himself.
Yeah, sorry,
Stephen.
David.
That's okay.
my personal opinion is that VGG is on a divide and conquer strategy. They're doing that strategy very well. And unfortunately, I really think there are 2 or 3 of the board members that are enabling that to happen. And I'm sorry to say that. I mean, the planning board has gone over 30 days without legal representation. That's.
So Steve, that is an agenda item for tonight, okay? The reason we had to wait for them to file the appeal for the subdivision site plan before we can appoint counsel.
I think,
And it has to be, the problem is, and this will come out, is they have counsel that they asked for, that we provided during the site plan review, very able attorney, Mark Bobrowski, and he is handling their appeal on the site plan portion of it, okay? The problem was that when he's not going to represent them, he refuses to represent them under the subdivision.
I saw that.
So now we're gonna have that discussion with the planning board on what we're doing with council tonight.
Okay, but as a humbling question, at what point does the Board of Selectmen think, if they have 3 lawsuits against our town already and don't even own any property, is there at some point you start thinking that host agreement might not have been a great idea?
You can't, I'm not gonna get into that, Steve. You can ask the question, but I'm not gonna get into that, because
I'm asking the question. If anybody wants to answer, I'm
because we're in
opening it up.
litigation, Steve. You're in litigation.
Well,
And
it
that's a
seems like
problem.
it's always going to be that with them. We're always going to be in litigation. So at some point, I would, why?
Steve,
Why is the
you
board?
can't, here's the thing, okay, you can make statements, okay?
I can ask questions,
You can ask questions, but nobody here, because it's not an agenda item, we can't answer them.
but this is open forum.
Right, so you can
I can ask a question,
Right.
right? I'm a citizen.
Absolutely.
It's like a forum.
But
All right, so my question would be, out of everything we've gone through, and now we're closing in on a year from the time we read in the newspaper that VGG was coming to town. We all know the whole history. A lot of us know more than some.
more than you want to know.
Yeah. Why is the majority of the Board of Selectmen still hell-bent on this project coming through? And I'd really like an answer. I think, because without an answer from that, you're fueling speculation. That's actually probably a disservice to the board.
As I said, you can pose questions, it's not an agenda item, and we can't talk about it.
But through the chair, if I just may speak at that comment that you just made, I don't believe it's accurate. I understand when we're in litigation, we can't say certain things, but we can indeed talk, or if a resident asks us a question that's not anything we're in litigation over, we absolutely can answer them. I challenge you on that, I guess, Mr. Chairman. Just saying.
So
I get your point, Steve, though.
Is the motivate, but I still didn't get an answer, though, but is the motivation money? Is it, because those numbers are all over the place. Is the motivation theoretical? Do we even know anymore?
Yeah.
Why the board is so hell-bent on pursuing this when you even have selectmen looking into the phone call records of a rather than
I can't speak for individuals.
Speaking-
I can't speak to individual selectmen, for individual selectmen.
Well, and through the chair, perhaps, because we did vote for the investigation, we'll have some of those questions answered inadvertently. I don't know.
And that investigation, just a curious question, would be handled by,
We have to talk about it.
okay.
No clue.
All right, thank you.
Next, Steve. Okay. Anybody else for open forum? Yes, sir.
Hi, Ken Howard, Old Worcester Road. I'd just like to say, I thought more people would be here in her defense, but I would just like to say, as a taxpayer, I think the Board of Selectmen in the town ought to back Patsy 100%. I think they ought to back the planning board 100%. I mean, all you people are supposed to work together. I know I've had some inklings about getting more involved in town politics, and after seeing what's happened to her, I don't know if I'd want to go down that road, because I don't want to be hung out to dry, which obviously is happening now. I've been here for 30 years. My father's been here, my grandfather, my great-grandfather. There's been people from my family in this town for a long time. It's been a good town. I raised 3 kids here. And this town is getting torn in half in the last year, all from that one project. And I just hate to see it happen. I hear people talk about leaving this town. I'm considering it myself. I just hate to see what's going on here, and I think, you know, all you guys and all of us should be working together to keep this town great. And part of the good thing about America, if you guys agree or disagree with her or me or whatever, that's fine. You can still be friends. You can agree to disagree. That's one of our rights. And I just hate to, from my side and from talking to people around town, it looks like it's very one-sided, whether it's meant to be or not. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse anybody because I don't know the facts, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to read about Charlton every other day in the newspaper. I get people calling me from towns where I grew up, you know, hey, what's going on out there today? You know, because they read all this stuff in the paper, and I guess just the main thing that concerns me is it's really dividing the town because of that one project, and comparing it to like the other place down Route 20 that's going in. Everything there seems to be happening so smoothly. It's in the right place, the right size, the guys are forthcoming. Anything you ask for, they give you. There's no BS. And that's the way it ought to be with any business in town. But anyway, I'm 100% for, we seem to have money for all kinds of other things in town. I think we ought to supply the money to get an attorney for Patsy and for the planning board. Thanks.
Excellent, thanks, Ken. Is there anybody else for open forum? Sir.
I'm going to be very brief. Roger Cloutier, 17 Coburn Road, and all I ask the board is that you know, Patsy's been on the planning board for 17 years. We all know her record. We all know her. She's trying to do the best that she can, and I just ask that you folks support her in this litigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Ed Kochling. I live at 47 Hanson Road. I came before the board back in September asking for the board to provide a financial impact report for the VGG project. And I realize it's gone kind of south lately with that project, but that shouldn't stop the town from making sure that we have necessary information to move forward on any project.
Okay.
So has that been done yet? Is it?
I would be remiss if I said yes or no. So I couldn't tell you right now. I will have to ask the office staff.
Okay, so that's kind of very disappointing, because I have to say that I asked about this in September, and I think the board was in agreement with that. I don't think that it takes that long to put the numbers together. So I'm hoping maybe by another, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we could have something.
I would assume that it's done and nobody has put it forward. That's my assumption. Okay?
I see. Okay.
So, but I can't speak, I can't speak to it. But we'll
Okay.
check on it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, and on another note, I would also like to point out that I think it's been a very disappointing seeing the town sort of go sideways on this VGG project, and under no circumstances should Patsy be left hanging here on this matter. I'm familiar with these kind of tactics, working with the city of Worcester, where they make it personal to discredit you and make you want to go away because you're doing your job, and under no circumstances should that be tolerated. And this board needs to step up, and step up big. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry?
Mr. Chairman. Gerard Russell, 63 Old Worcester Road. I'm here to support Patsy in her request of the board, a very logical and reasonable request that the planning board be given legal representation. We've all been here before when it came to the site plan. Thankfully, the planning board now has representation, very good representation for that appeal. you and I and everybody in this room knows that the subdivision appeal is separate and distinct from the site plan. Now, because Attorney Bobrowski has decided not to represent the planning board for the subdivision appeal, that should not be in any way a barrier to the Board of Selectmen to do what is correct, what is right, what is just, to appoint counsel for the planning board. There should be no delay, and as I've said before, that it's a despicable act by the Board of Selectmen to deny representation. It's taken far too long for that decision to be made.
Okay, Jerry, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
John Smith, Dressa Hill Road. I serve on the board with Patsy. I just want to say that it's been a pleasure being a board member. I'm an alternate member, and I was appointed by you people to be part of the process, so, and I do appreciate the appointment, but over the past 3 or 4 months, it's been nothing but an education on good government, being part of that board, having people being able to express their feelings and their, the goods and the bads, and just the whole process of a decision on such a sensitive topic as VGG. But I think it's been a fair process. It's been above board, and it's been moderated by Patsy, and she's done an excellent job. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Jean.
I have something different. Please go someplace else.
It doesn't.
But I do notice that our town administrator is not here tonight.
Correct.
And I've heard word that she's out on leave.
We cannot comment on that.
I'm just wondering what steps the selectmen are taking to make sure that this vacancy.
So right now, the day-to-day operations are being handled by the staff, and their individual selectmen are stepping up to take care of different things. Okay.
And it's
They
not
said
going to
the
interfere
department
with
had to-
anything being done in a timely, we're going into budget season, we're going into town
No,
meeting.
we're in good shape.
Everything's fine?
Yep, we're in good shape.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
And nobody has told us any different yet. So Donna's coming back from vacation in a week, and no.
Donna's
I
back
think-
today.
Is she back today?
Yes.
She's been gone for a week, so
Okay.
we'll know if there's any highlights that we missed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
But through the chair, thank you for bringing that up. Actually, I kind of am in the dark also. I know you've talked to me a little bit, but is there anything that you can legally say to inform all of us? Because you mentioned people have been helping.
Not right now,
And
not right now. Probably,
Soon.
probably the best thing is, I'll talk to you personally afterwards. Okay? Thank you. Okay, anybody else for open forum? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Oh,
Sorry,
Oh,
just,
I'm sorry. That's all right.
I'll shout next time, way in the back. So Lucas Stevens, 87 Oxford Road, and I've been listening to a lot of the comments tonight from my fellow residents, and I don't usually like to speak up on anything like this. I've never really spoken up on anything, but
maybe?
I'll get you.
if it's just about the council, the appointment of council, do you have to step out again?
It's this council.
No,
No?
because it's on the agenda.
Okay, I don't want to have to make you get up and out. No.
Again.
Okay.
I'm getting my
Yeah.
10,000 steps in.
But there you go. Look on the bright side. But I think it's bringing up my as being a member of the Recreation Commission. Being an elected official. If I were to be have something brought against me into court, again, when I have been acting in my duties as an elected official, that would be scary to me as well. I am not a lawyer. There are some, I know, amicus brief, I know what that is, but there's some terms, I'm like, huh? So I think it sets a fair precedent to give Patsy counsel in an expedient manner and, to make sure our town employees are protected when all they're trying to do is act in a good faith effort for our town and its residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, through the chair, but I just have a question about that. I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not deciding whether or not to give her counsel. I mean, we are obligated if she is accused of
Correct.
something.
So the problem, just so I can, what happens is the town has different insurance companies that handle different things, okay? And
It's on our agenda.
and it is on the agenda, but it's not a case of it's not a case of how we're gonna do it, it's who's gonna do it and how does it get handled, okay? So that's the question, and I can't sit up here and make comments on how or who, okay? That's the whole thing.
And my last comment, and Ms. Noble, because of your background, I'm sure you've heard of this before. What hasn't happened and what disturbs me the most with all of this is there's something called innocent until proven guilty. And in this particular case,
Okay.
the judgment was leapt right to guilty.
So I'm gonna.
I'm sorry, just to clarify. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Mr. Chair. Innocent until proven guilty is a defense in a criminal matter, and this is a civil matter, and in fact, no civil.
So here's what we're gonna do.
So it was appropriate just to say someone was guilty.
We're gonna move on to our next appointment, which is for the kitchen assistant. Okay? Appointment of the kitchen assistant. There's been a need to fill the kitchen assistant position due to the retirement of Kathy Kuehl and the appointment of Jen Trudeau to the kitchen manager. 8 applications were received, of which 7 were interviewed. Of these applicants, 4 were from Charlton. The final candidate is Kenneth Goodrow, who has over 10 years of experience as a cook and has cooked for senior populations before. He has also completed an advanced culinary program at the Connecticut Culinary Institute with honors. With his experience and knowledge, he would be able to cover for Ms. Trudeau when she is out. Human Resources Director Jessica Lawrence would recommend the board appoint Kenneth Goodrow as the kitchen assistant at a rate of $14 per hour for 22 hours a week, pending a positive query and reference. And we'd recommend that the board make the appointment. What are the board's wishes?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Singer.
I would make the motion that we make the appointment as recommended at
Second.
$14 per hour.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
I'm here, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You too. Okay. Chief Maxfield, you're up.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the purpose of my visit tonight is to get direction from the board as to how they want to proceed to get a eligible candidates list for the open position of sergeant. Since Dan Dow was appointed to lieutenant, we have a vacancy. Our 4th sergeant is presently empty. I have one person on the active list who's given his notice of retirement and will be leaving this fall. So the board has 2 options, two ways to go. One is the civil service exam this September that is paid for by the state, and the candidates would pay a fee to the state for $250 and take the exam. We would probably get results sometime next February, and we would have to hire off of that list. The other option, and the option that I would like you to entertain, is an assessment center, much like they did for the chief's position. It is an expense to the town, but I think it's more accurate a measure of a person's suitability for the position of sergeant. So I have reached out to some of the area chiefs, the Oxford Chief, Tony Sadd, excuse me, and the Southbridge Police Chief, Shane Woodson. They've recently done assessment centers for sergeant. The cost is approximately, depending on how many people take it, $1,000 to $1,250 per candidate. And the $250 fee that the officer would normally pay to the state for the civil service exam would go to the town to help offset those costs. And we would have to put it out to bid. You know, there are two approved company from civil service. So just want to see how you guys want to proceed. And
David?
So, thank you, Chief. I concur, and I would like to go the assessment center route. I think that when we utilized MMA for the Chief's assessment center, the feedback from everyone who participated was, well, it won't be verbatim, but grueling, tiring, exhausting.
It was.
You know, needed a week off to recover from the assessment center. And while we don't get the full report, the write-up of the individuals, I think what happened in the outcome and the feedback we get, we're not going to just get from the standard civil service test. I'd like to go the assessment center route personally. Last time we put out, I think I was on the committee that investigated the different assessment centers. Do we have to do that again, or can we go back to the assessment center we've already chose last time?
I believe so. You'd have to place it out to bid.
Again?
Yeah, again, yes, because it's a different test and for a different position. And so they all come in pretty equally, talking to the other chiefs, that they're very close. Some will give you a break if they'll say, you know, between 5 and 7 candidates, it'll be this much. Some are, you know, per candidate basis, but the average is about the same. So it would just a matter of, you know, who wanted to bid for, you know, for it, and the board would entertain that, or if you directed HR to do it and select.
So when we did it last time, I think we took the 3 different assessment centers, and then we actually internally scored them. We looked at their strengths, their weaknesses, what they were offering, and then made a recommendation on what was the most appropriate of the 3 to award it to.
Okay. Deb?
Chief, what's the time frame if we use the assessment center model? Because you mentioned with the candidate exam, it could be next February. So is the time frame a bit shorter with the assessment center?
It's a lot shorter. It's just a matter of you can't really study for the assessment center. It's just they put you through exercises, much like they did to the chief's exam. So sometimes like in the chief's exam, they gave us a written essay to do, and then we had to go in front of a panel and defend, you know, kind of thing. So it's that kind of based test. So whereas the exam itself in September, that's essentially based on books that were written in the 1940s and 50s. A lot of it is outdated. And all you get really in a test is somebody who can memorize what's in those books, and it's, you know, so, but to answer your question, we could do it within weeks, not months.
Okay. And tell me, when the next individual retires, how short-staffed will we be?
Well, we're down, we just had, you appointed Officer Trethway, so that filled in. We're 1 short, and then we'll be losing 1 more in September. We did hire Jen Burdette as a special, and she's filling in now because the contract allows me to use part-times and special in that block when we have somebody out for an extended period of time. So, but we're still 1 person short, so I'll need to hire 2 on top of this sergeant, so, just to get us back to the 20.
Okay, so we're looking at 3 hires then this year?
Ultimately, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I've discussed it with the Finance Committee, and just kind of giving you all a heads up that we're getting to a situation now where we're starting to pay in the overtime, where we may want to consider another person, you know, we're paying $60,000, $70,000 for a $50,000 job. So,
Gotcha.
And I had that discussion with the Finance Committee, and at some point, I'll be in front of you to discuss that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Karen, do you have anything?
No.
Because I'm just going to voice my opinion. I think when we did the assessment center for the chief, I think that I had heard, and I had friends who had gone through assessment centers, either for the city fire department or the city police department, And they both, the two friends that had done that, both said that it was unbelievable, that, you know, it was, what they put you through was extremely difficult, so.
8 solid hours, and it's retired chiefs and attorneys, and it, you don't get 5 minutes. Yeah, it was tough. But, you know, I think the product that you get, you know, in the end, would benefit the town.
Okay, so, does somebody want to make a motion?
What do you need from us? Just a motion to
That
start
you,
a list, or?
that we go the assessment. The other thing is, the fund, you know, I don't, we would have to discuss with, you know, the transfer of funds, you know, depending on how many people that, you know, take the exam.
We'll work that out with him.
Right, but that the, because as the appointing authority, that you're directing me to have an assessment center for the position of sergeant, and, you know, I'll.
So, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we approve and authorize the chief to post and begin the process for an assessment center to fill the role of sergeant for the open position.
Okay,
Second.
second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Paul hearing.
7 o'clock appointment at 7:30. We have a poll hearing for Boucher Road. Attached, you'll find a request from National Grid and Verizon New England Inc. seeking to install 2 JO poles on Boucher Road. Also attached is the notice that was sent to the abutters. This request has been forwarded and approved by the Chief of Police and Highway Superintendent. No comments or concerns have been received. So we have to open the public hearing. Charlton Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 9th, 2019, at 7 p.m. or thereabouts in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 37 Main Street, Charlton, Mass. 01507, to act on requests from National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Boucher Road, National Grid to install 2 JO poles on Boucher Road, beginning at a point approximately 1,565 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Old Worcester Road Extension and Boucher Road, and continuing approximately 250 feet in a southerly direction. National Grid to install 2 new 40C2 poles, 13 and 14, with anchor on pole 13. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at the date and time specified to submit concerns in writing. So we haven't received any concerns in writing into the office. Is there anybody here to talk about the poles on Boucher Road? Seeing none? Yes, ma'am. We should be all set if nobody's, okay. Unless the board has questions, but does anybody on the board have any questions or comments? No. Hearing none, seeing none. Can somebody give me a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second. We have a motion to close the public hearing, and we have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Can we have a motion to approve the poll location?
So moved.
Second.
And we have a motion, a second, to approve the poll location. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay. So 7:15 at 7:35.
You're moving right along.
Yes, we're starting. The chairman of the planning board is requesting authorization to obtain counsel for the subdivision appeal. We've scheduled them for 7:15. Okay. Hey, Patsy.
Hi. I am here to represent the planning board requesting legal counsel for the appeal of the Valley Green Road definitive subdivision plan decision. I sent an email to the chair requesting counsel on April 2nd, the day after I received a copy of the appeal, and he did add my request to today's agenda. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. And one of the things that happened with the, with the request for appeal is we did have to wait until we were served the notice of the appeal. So we're doing it in a timely fashion and not having to wait for something. David?
Just making sure, so we're sticking to the conversation solely to counsel.
Correct.
And a request for counsel.
Correct. So
That being said, Mr. Chair, I would like to move that we approve the request for counsel for the planning board.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Okay. So I think some of the discussion has to be is who are we gonna get? Do you wanna contact Jim Cosgrove and have him try and find somebody? or-
I'll reach out to Jim and we'll find
Okay.
a
All right.
land specialist that,
Right, land use specialist. Excellent.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we'll vote on it. Okay, we have a motion, a second for the planning board chair to reach out to town council to appoint council, special town council, to the planning board for the subdivision appeal. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, guys. Okay, special one-day alcohol license. Attached is a request from the Charlton Roadways Committee seeking a special liquor license for wine and malt beverages to be used on Monday, September 22nd, 2019, from 11:15 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Charlton Optical parking lot, 109-6 Masonic Home Road, for runners only over the age of 21. The estimated number of persons is 40 maximum.
400.
400 maximum, I'm sorry. Mr. Zero, thanks. This request has been forwarded and approved by the building commissioner, fire department, and police department. Stipulations by the fire chief are crowd managers per 250 occupants, fire extinguishers, and marked egress. Stipulations by the police chief are the same as last year, which is possible requirements of police detail as information becomes available. These will be added to the licenses if approved by the board. Per the board's policy, the license, if the day requested is approved, should be issued for 2 additional days for the following reasons. September 1st, to allow for delivery of alcohol to establishments, no sale allowed. September 2nd, for the use on the approved date and time as listed. September 3rd, to allow for pickup of any unused alcohol, no sales allowed. These dates would be reflected on the license, and we recommend that the board approve the special license as requested. So I know that last year it was a very big success and there was no problems. And kudos to Treehouse. Are they involved again this year?
Yes, sir, they are, yes.
So, does the board have any questions or want to make a motion? or-
Mr. McGrath,
Yes.
should this say 2019, because it says 2018 in the request?
It did?
Yes.
You're
Oh,
correct.
They're
you
just
are correct.
asking
Thank you, Anya.
late for
Thank
last
you.
year.
So it's 2019.
I apologize.
That's all right. We'll call it a Scribner's error.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Mr. Singer.
I would move to approve, based upon the following dates, December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, to allow delivery, use, and pickup, and simply ask that they follow any of the stipulations required from the police chief, fire chief, and building commissioner on that request.
Okay. We have a
Second.
motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Very good, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
doing
Thank you.
this.
We expect
We
to see
appreciate
you
it.
guys running. One year it's a
No.
goal.
Get me a race with no hills.
You will,
I'm in.
I didn't pick that.
you will see my daughter as you see her frequently,
Perfect.
so.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
guys. Okay. All right. Highway Materials Bid Award.
Then we'll run down. Okay.
Highway bids were received and opened on April 2nd, 2019 at 10 a.m. After review of the bids, Highway Superintendent Foskett is recommending the awards as follows. Item 1, bituminous concrete type 1 in place at $68.68 per ton, be awarded to Mass Broken Stone, 332 Sawyer Hill Road, P.O. Box 26, Berlin, Mass. Last year's bid was awarded to Mass Broken Stone in the amount of $62.29 per ton. Item 2, full depth pavement reclamation and the application of 1.0 gallons of liquid calcium chloride per square yard at a cost of $2.169 per square yard to Murray Paving and Reclamation, Inc., 55 Whitney Street, Holliston, Mass. Last year's bid was awarded to Murray Paving and Reclamation, Inc. at $0.89 per square yard. Item 3, stone seal at $2.45 a square yard, double stone seal at $4.35 a square yard, and asphalt rubber at $3.50 a square yard to All States Asphalt, Inc., P.O. Box 91, Sunderland, Mass. 01375. Last year's bid was awarded to All States Asphalt, Inc. for stone seal at $2.24 a square yard, double stone seal at $4.14 a yard, and square yard, and asphalt rubber at $4.65 a square yard. What are the board's wishes?
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Spiewak.
I move that we approve the award, the bids as stated, award the bids as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Karen, the next one was you, legal fees for fiscal year 2019.
Yep, actually, the next two were, and I appreciate you putting them on. I would respectfully ask that we just table them for tonight, as I wasn't able to reach out to folks to discuss as they were on vacation. So
Okay.
bring it back, that'd
And
be
would you
great.
like them on the next agenda?
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay. So Mary, if you could please put those on the next agenda, I'd appreciate it. Okay, old business fiscal year 20 annual town meeting. There are no updates. So we're moving along in that fashion. Committee reports. Do we have any committee reports?
No, the Marijuana Advisory Committee will be meeting next week on the 16th, April 16th at 5:30.
Okay. So the next item is for the the Board of Selectmen's policy review, and Commissioner Meskis is here. So policy procedure for traffic management and crowd control. At the board's last meeting, we brought you a procedure for requesting special event permit to review. After discussion, Mr. Meskis sought input from departments as well as meeting with interim town planner. In addition, Mr. Meskis met with the planning board on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019, to ensure there was not a conflict with the board's jurisdiction. There was a discussion between the planning board members, Mr. Meskis, and one favorable citizen comment. The discussion included the purpose of the proposed policy, who, how, and when it would affect the potential permits. Mr. Meskis asked the planning board directly if there was any concern with this policy reaching into the planning board's jurisdiction. The chair, Patricia Ridlax, and without dissension of the board, indicated does not. From the comments we received, Mr. Meskis has suggested some revisions to his draft policy, which you have before you. A red line version showing the changes was sent to you by staff. The title of this policy procedure is changed from requesting special event permit to policy procedure for traffic management and crowd control. If the board has no changes, I'd recommend that we approve the policy procedure for traffic management and crowd control. That's from the staff. Kurt?
We came, we saw, we made some changes, and hopefully find this to be favorable to the board for their adoption.
I have no problem. Dave?
Just a simple question. So I know last time you were here, Mr. Jennings was here also, and I guess you had spoken to him, which is nice as a member of the community, business owner who, as you're aware, and everyone is, has a lot of experience in dealing with the town and you regarding traffic control. And as I understand it, you know, giving him the opportunity to work with you was to find something that would be better for the town and everyone in the town who may want to utilize this policy. Given that these changes have been done, has Mr. Jennings and anyone else you've been consulting with, have they all seen the final version that you've put forth?
I can speak to, because I reached out, once I saw this, I reached out to Mr. Jennings, and Mr. Jennings has no problem with this.
And the fire chief, everyone else, they're all?
So it was sent to all the department heads. The fire chief commented with a couple of spelling corrections, and the library director was the other one who picked up on some spelling corrections. I did notice, my wife did that editorial person, she helps me out a lot. I appreciate her. Because as you look at these things over and over again, you see what you want to see. So, there's one place that we misspoke and we said crowd control, and I didn't want to use the word crowd control, so we're going to recommend changing that to management. And this is in the section that's the organizer of the occasion shall apply. Okay, so it's like on the first page. So we said traffic and crowd control. It should be crowd management there. And then later on in a sentence, directly associated with an existing use or activity. So those are just a couple little spelling or grammatical.
I think crowd management is much more appropriate.
And that was one of the, Mr. Jennings, who sat here next to me last time I was here, yes, we're not controlling their events. You know,
Right.
They have, businesses have licenses and permissions and site plans to do regular events. It's the irregular crowd issues that we were really trying to address, and the irregular traffic issues that we were trying to address, so.
So, does anybody have any other comments?
Yeah.
And we'll,
I do. Through the chair, thank you. This has changed significantly, and I think I think it spells out exactly what you want. I have one minor change. We call it a policy up at the top, but yet in the heading, the Town of Charlton procedure, I would recommend we call it Town of Charlton policy for requesting traffic and crowd management permit, and then use
And
the
there's a
word,
procedure.
use the word, if you scroll down where it says process, change that to procedure.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay, so hopefully
Did you get
Mary
all
will be
that?
listening to this on tape, and she and I will
will.
consult and make sure that we get these
Small
small,
clerical
friendly
errors.
words.
And we'll check it for punctuation.
Always.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So I thank you, and I thank you for working through the process, and any time, I have no problem when I sort of author some of these things with the process and getting that input from those people that may be affected. So I appreciate, all of your comments and all of those people who did reach out, so.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Kurt.
good night.
Thanks, Kurt. Tanya? Student select persons report?
It must be a big one.
How
She's
are
getting
you?
ready to read it all.
I do, I have 2 pages. All right.
Excellent.
So, this past weekend at the Eastern Show Choir Festival on Saturday, April 6th, the mixed division fantasy placed 3rd and received a gold medal, and the single mixed gender illusion placed 2nd with gold and won Best Soloist and Best Ensemble of the Morning Showcase. John Burroughs High School from Burbank, California, gave impressive performances and captured grand champions in both showcases. Going on tonight at Dudley Middle School, Charlton Middle School, and Shepherd Hill, the winter percussions and guard groups are performing their season's competition show one last time for everyone in the district who didn't get to see it. Tomorrow night is the show choir district show starting at 6 p.m. And again, all 3 of the schools will be performing their shows, and the show is completely sold out. April 12th, Shepherd Hill's Tri-M Honor Society will be hosting their first ever karaoke night at the Hill. The admission is free and concessions will be sold. The event starts at 6:30. And the spring band concert is April 23rd at 6 p.m. Congratulations goes out to senior Drew Montigny on being named the Scholar Athlete, 1 of 6 in all of Central Mass by the National College Football Hall of Fame. He's the first Shepherd Hill student to receive this honor in 7 years. Shepherd Hill girls lacrosse beat North Middlesex 11-1 to start the season off 3-0, highlighted by junior Skylar Pietz getting her 200th career point and sophomore Claudia Bonaventure scoring her 100th career point in lacrosse. April 4th, another successful science fair was held at Shepherd Hill. April 5th, student-elected APUSH students Ryan Moore and I attended Student Government Day at the State House in Boston, experiencing the process of a mock House bill vote. Congratulations goes out to Shepherd Hill senior Emma Whitehead, who has been accepted to over 18 colleges so far, including 3 Ivy Leagues, Cornell, Dartmouth, and Brown. Congratulations to senior Anthony White on his attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. And Shepherd Hill Drivers Ed Education has now online registration and bill pay running on the Shepherd Hill website, and there are still slots open for a June class. Upcoming events, April 22nd is the Health and Wellness Fair at Dudley Middle School from 5 to 8 o'clock. And that same night at Shepherd Hill is the Screenagers Growing Up in the Digital Ages presentation from 6 to 7 p.m. And then May 3rd is the 7th Annual Art Through the Ages District-Wide Art Show at Shepherd Hill from 5 to 8. And I do have the 2 dates for the mock town meetings in both towns right now.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Charlton right now is for May 31st, and Dudley Middle School is for May 30th. It's tentative if I'll be at both, but if there's one that you guys want to attend, of course, Charlton and Dudley are able to overlap. If one of you can't go to the 31st, if you want to go to the 30th. But it is tentative if I will be at the Dudley Middle School one, because I'm still in the process of training the other member, and he's getting a little bit confused, so I might have to be there.
Okay.
Excellent.
And the date, not the date, the time should be the same as last year, so we're aiming for 9 a.m. to
9 a.m.
10:30 or 11.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be there.
That's
Excellent.
all.
Thank you, Anya. Okay. There will be no town administrators report. Other business unknown at the time of posting. Does anybody have?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Singer.
I actually have a request, and I'll say what it is, and then if you tell me that it would be more appropriate to revisit this as an agenda item, then I would ask we put it on the agenda for a future meeting. But I was thinking about this, and my apologies for not getting this out sooner, but I wasn't sure how to approach it, and I decided that I would like to ask, let me put it this way. Nothing is more important than the public trust. And a lot's been going on, I think, as far as the public is concerned, in the way our board and the planning board have interacted. And I don't believe a board can investigate itself. I think if you want to have any semblance of credibility, you need to be investigated by somebody else. That being said, I don't remember how long ago, the chairman of another board came before our board and requested that we hire an independent auditor to investigate his own board. I'd like to do the same, to investigate the interactions between our board and the planning board, so that we can have them given access to videos, meeting minutes, all town-related emails. And they can then do their own independent audit. They can generate their own report, which can be made available to the public. And I think that there is no price you can put on the public trust. And I think that the public is not going to accept any board investigating itself. So I would ask that we hire an independent auditor to investigate our own board and our communications with the planning board to see if they discover any illegalities, improprieties, or irregularities, so that we can get this cleared up and get a report written up and give it out to the public.
So I believe your first thing was it being an agenda item. I think it's a good idea. I think it needs to be an agenda item. That's just my opinion. So.
But for the chair, David was out when so you might want to let him know what we did do.
Right. It's so.
You were in the hallway, sorry.
It's basically the same thing that you were talking about, but I think we'll put it on the agenda, and we'll have a discussion about it, and then we'll move forward.
But to elaborate, we voted for an internal investigation, but specifically
more for a
for
specific
what just
thing, yeah.
happened, what just happened with how did the information, the recording for what Patsy was accused of. So we did agree, the vote was to look into that, but.
But that's a
What I'm
specific thing you're looking for.
What I'm looking
overall.
for is more broad, to know if between our two boards, did we or they do anything wrong? Illegal, improper, irregular? But again, I can't investigate myself, we can't investigate ourselves, but an outside auditor can come in with eyes with nothing to gain or lose, and have access to everything, just as they did with water sewer. And just as they did with water sewer, they can generate a report of their findings. And I think if we have that report that shows whether or not we or any other board did anything wrong in our interactions back and forth or how we've conducted our business, it should be available to the public, and they can read the independent auditor's findings to finally put, I think, you know, to, not put things to rest, but to hopefully, I guess, show the public, regain the public trust that an outside auditor conducted an investigation, here's what they found.
So, and as I, like I said, I believe that needs to be, you know, an agenda item. And I think that, so if you could, so as long as the board agrees, does everybody agree to that?
I absolutely agree.
Okay. So one of the things I think, David, is reach out to Mary, okay, and just tell her we want to put it on the agenda, you know,
For the next meeting?
For next meeting. She's gonna have the minutes anyway,
Okay.
and the recording. But we're gonna be looking for some thoughts on how to do this. So whether she reaches out to Cosgrove or whoever to come up with a game plan on how we're gonna move forward with this.
Okay, and at that time, I mean,
Then we'll
I
have
would
some
likely
more
recommend
information.
probably just hiring you in the same auditor, because they did an impeccable job the last time.
And through the chair, you might think about, are we just talking about the two boards? Are we talking about the town administrator? Are we talking about?
Our office.
Just, okay.
Everybody associated with our office, that's all.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, so that being said, the next meeting announcement, does anybody have any other old business? Okay, no one. Our next regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, April 23rd, 2019, 6:30 PM. And with that, we will adjourn to executive session for the sole purpose of exiting the sole purpose is respect to collective bargaining or litigation for the clerical union, and we will exit that for adjournment, so.
Do we have a motion to enter executive
Please.
session?
Are you gonna walk me through this?
I'd like to make a motion that we enter executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, to discuss with respect to collective bargaining or litigation clerical union, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
The chair does so declare, and we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Singer. Ms. Spiewak?
Aye.
Mr. Singer?
Aye.
Ms. Noble?
Aye.
Mr. McGrath says aye. And that's it. Good evening.